Do you feel it? Do you feel her wisdom flowing through you now?
I've been moving fast, caught up in the noise, chasing all the answers, losing my voice. But when I sat still, I felt that breeze, whispering truth that brought me to my knees. It ain't logic, nah, it's deeper than that. It's clarity that pulls you back. You can't fake it, can't rush it, can't earn it. But once you hear her, you never unlearn it. Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit moving through your thoughts like a sacred stream? Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit giving sight to your soul, clarity to your dreams? It's more than a feeling, it's purpose and grace. She'll speak the truth you've been scared to face. Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit?
Speaking of.
I used to trust the world, now I trust her voice. She don't shout, she moves quiet by choice. She told me slow down, let go the pride. Now I walk with peace on the inside. You might hear her in a song, in a silent tear, in a grandma's prayer, so sincere. She won't push you, just waits real still. But once she moves, baby, you feel that chill. Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit flowing through your heart like morning sun? Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit telling you your work ain't close to done? You ain't gotta rush, don't need no plan. Just trust her hand and understand. Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit? She's right here. Wisdom don't yell, she whispers. She ain't loud, but she loud when you need it. That nudge when you know you wrong. That peace when the whole world gone sideways. That's her. That's wisdom. Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit? Like an answer you ain't have to chase. Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit giving strength, giving grace? It's real, it's deep, she's speaking still. Do you feel the wisdom of the Holy Spirit? Yeah, I feel her. Every time I pause, every time I pray. Do you feel her wisdom today?
Shabbat Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about what the Trump administration, Pete had said, is being accused of. They are accusing them of crimes against humanity for blowing up these boats out in the waters off the coast of Venezuela. Now, they are accusing them of trafficking drugs to the US, and they're saying not so fast. That's not what's going on. And here's the problem. They're not proving this at all. This is just hearsay. They're just making the accusation, but they have failed to show any proof that any drugs are being trafficked from Venezuela. And it's also been said that most of the drugs are coming from places like Mexico and Colombia. Very few of the drugs coming into the US come from Venezuela. Very little. And many of the accusations that Donald Trump is making is unfounded. So, am I shocked that they have not proven these things? No, because this is how these folks have been operating all this time in the US. They think their word or accusation carries all the necessary weight to justify any act they carry out. This is how it's been historically. And it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. If they say it, then that's the way it is. And that's a load of BS. But lives are being taken off of somebody making an accusation. And we have yet to see these drugs. And I had my doubts from day one about what Donald Trump was saying, and I still have my doubts. It is just like when Elon was sitting there saying that they were finding all of this fraud and spending, and we never saw it to this very day. And I still have my doubts that Elon found anything. But there's a lot of people among our people that's willing to believe that it was all this fraud and spending, despite the fact that we never got a name of who was committing this fraud. Nobody ever went to jail. We never heard anything about which department was committing all the fraud. Nothing. So I'm sorry, I don't believe them. And I don't believe them about all these boats going into the water and all they're doing is trafficking all this drugs. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. So, y'all, I'm gonna show you some videos and you can judge for yourself. Will someone get punished? Not as long as Donald Trump is the sitting president. After his administration is done, it's possible. But, we know they don't punish Donald Trump for anything. The Congress and Senate in this country are petrified to do anything to Donald Trump. That's why, there's all this impeachment talk. I'm not worried about them impeaching anything because, when it comes down to Donald Trump right now, he's Teflon Don. They are scared to make a move against him. And it just goes to show you politicians are cowards. They are. They are the biggest cowards that we got sitting in DC. There is nothing bigger in this country than cowardly politicians on the left and on the right. So, right now, Donald Trump is sitting in his position running roughshod over everyone in DC. And it doesn't matter that he's sitting there breaking the law. They're going to just sit there and watch him do it. So, I have no respect, and this is another reason, and I told y'all this before in the past. I don't like any politician, and now it's just even more amplified and why I feel this way. I don't like politicians, and they're just proving my case even more. So let me go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Watching the United States military and Department of Defense commit war crimes so that Pete Hegseth can convince himself how cool he is the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life. Not only committing war crimes, but bragging about it, mocking it with a social media post that has like an AI generated Franklin the Turtle blowing up boats. And let's be clear, as much as they want to label these narco terrorist boats, there has been zero evidence that these were drug dealers, drug smugglers carrying drugs at all. And then, in the clearest violation of the Geneva Convention that I've ever seen in my lifetime, ordering a second strike to make sure that any survivors did not survive. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Geneva Convention, it's basically like the rules of engagement for war that have been agreed upon long ago about how we're going to conduct business of war. And one of those long-standing rules of engagement is about survivors and making sure that they are safe and get to safety, that they get to the treatment they need, and that we don't execute survivors. Yet this is exactly the second strike that Hegseth ordered. And again, all in an effort to prove how cool and manly he is. Just like that meeting he called with all the generals to tell them about lethality and the warrior ethos, while also throwing in a little bit about no more fatties and beardos. Which only becomes more ironic because now, as we are facing accountability for these strikes, he's blaming them on Admiral Frank Bradley. Because nothing says I'm a big, strong man like bitching out when it's time to be held accountable for the behavior. As if somehow he did not call for the strikes to make sure that the survivors didn't survive. But these are the kind of things that happen when you hire a guy who needs a makeup room in the Pentagon to run the Department of Defense. You get a bitch ass little boy cosplaying as an actual man, doing everything he can, including cruel, violent, illegal acts to prove to other men that he's a man while wearing fucking makeup. Incompetence and stupidity are one thing, but we are literally talking about war crimes. Taking people's lives with no due process, no proof, no evidence in international waters, and then ordering strikes to make sure that survivors don't survive.
Even though it's already down. Now let's take a look at the fentanyl crisis. Trump becomes president and fentanyl usage starts to rise up. Biden becomes president, it rises up, stalls. Biden starts to work with Mexico and other countries to stop the smuggling of fentanyl into America. And from 2023 to 2024, we see it drop significantly, meaning it is already on a steep downward decline. Now check this out. Trump is claiming the reason he is attacking Venezuelans is because they're smuggling the majority of fentanyl in America, which is not true. They're a very tiny player. So if this is already on a downward decline, it doesn't really matter what Trump does. If Biden already put the systems in place and the relationships in place, this should continue to decline well into Trump's presidency because of Biden's efforts in 2023. So Trump will try to justify his war crimes in the future by saying, no, look, I attacked Venezuela, I killed those people on the boats, and the fentanyl went down. I solved the crisis just like I solved crime in DC and Chicago. No, he didn't. He's yet again trying to take credit of another president or another person actually doing the work and actually putting the money behind the facilities to get these things in order, who actually made the phone calls and developed the relationships to make these things happen. Trump does not have that ability. He only knows how to lie, manipulate, and gaslight. He doesn't know how to actually lead and be a president or work with anybody. He wants people to bend to his will, and he lies to them and takes credit for other people's doings and then blames everybody else for his actual doings. How absolutely insane. We'll find in any Donald Trump trend that he doesn't typically do things for no reason. There's always a manipulation tactic behind it, such as him freeing the ex-Honduran president who trafficked over 400 tons of cocaine into America. Trump is looking for favors and he's looking for dirty allies because he also has been pardoning billionaires who are cheating people out of billions of dollars, as well as other potentially useful or semi-powerful people he can use in the future because they will be indebted to him. And if you take a look at the Epstein emails, let's go to it right now. Let's remember that Jeffrey Epstein was Trump's best friend, and their friendship operated the same exact way Trump operates today. This was regarding Epstein getting caught yet again with little girls and Trump trying to separate himself from Epstein because he was also involved with little girls. Here's what Epstein said in this email. He received an email from Michael Wolff saying, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in scrum afterwards. Epstein said, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it would be? Michael Wolff said this: I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it's possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gone a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in the Trump regime. They think in terms of blackmail, gaslight, manipulation. What can I hold over your head to make sure you do something good for me? And we see that in yet another email where somebody says it will all blow over. They're really just trying to take down Trump and doing whatever they can to do that. And Jeffrey Epstein says, yeah, thanks. It's wild because I am the only one able to take him down. These billionaire relationships aren't actually real relationships. It's just blackmail and bribes. And Trump only pardons people that are just like him, and he's looking for allies because he just pardoned a Democrat representative, Henny Quillow. He was charged with foreign government and bribery. So Trump knows he's crooked, and he pardoned him to try to use him to his advantage because he's desperate right now. And who did Trump blame for this insider threat to our country going to prison? Joe Biden. Saying this, for years, the Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents. Let's just stop right there. That's exactly what Trump is doing. So from now on, everything else we read right here that he accuses Biden of, we already know Trump is already doing or is planning to do as he's done with this pardon. Let's continue. The Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents and anyone who disagreed with them. One of the clearest examples of this was when Crooked Joe used the FBI and DOJ to take out a member of his own party after highly respected Henry Cuellar bravely spoke out against open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Sleepy Joe went after the congressman.
I ain't gonna tell you, but I'll fucking tell you. Okay, look at the logic here. Hesep running around with his dirty drinking, whiny ass, crying, talking about it took an hour for the second strike. Now they coming to find out it was minutes. He said he left the room. I didn't know your drunk ass can move that wobbly fast out the room in minutes. See, the thing that's tripping me is they thought the black guy they was gonna be able to use. When the black guy started realizing that these motherfuckers is playing games, he like, fuck y'all. So now they got the white dude running all around Washington trying to figure out a way is he either gonna snitch or he gonna drop on their ass. That's just one factor. Now they saying this is all about the F joint, the FDs coming in here destroying 250,000, making these wild ass numbers. You know Donald Trump and his motherfucking numbers. Question is, it does not come in through Venezuela. It comes in through Mexico. Why the fuck we ain't bombing motherfucking Mexico? Why? We're not, because they're trade partners, and then shit will really get cracking if we try to do that shit. He claiming that they're trying to stop. I didn't know Venezuela lived next door, like Mexico or Canada, both sides of the border. So he's saying this is a new version of the war on drugs. But my question that bothers me so fast, it would take them to fill up 5 times just to get to the shore of Miami or any part of Mexico or any part of America to get here to bring drugs. So you're blowing these boats up and killing these people, but where's the fucking evidence? 2, you're saying it's a war, but you never went to Congress. How is that possible? See, this is playing in our face. Go blah, 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 blah. But we not believing that bullshit. My facts radar is going crazy right now. But this is another question. Number 3. You freed the biggest fucking drug dealer. You partnered him. He was doing 40 years in America. He was transporting the shit here. How is the please explain them fucking madness to me that this motherfucker was in our incarceration doing 40 years for transporting drugs here, and you partner him, but you killing people on the boat. I ain't dumb. And ain't nobody dumb around me. We ain't believing none of this bullshit. This ain't nothing but a fucking distraction. Won't you? Nobody even talking about the SP files right now. Y'all notice that shit. He ain't even showing up to the fucking service members that got fucking unalive because he put them in DC. He ain't doing none of the shit that he said. He lying saying affordability. I can show you shit of affordability. He ain't showing shit other than dodging them SP files. Fuck this. The 30 days up, goddammit, in another week. Put the damn files up. There ain't no fucking investigation. Only new investigation is how many panties that bitch ass motherfucker sniffed. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
They have confirmed that the United States has murdered 2 shipwrecked sailors. The committee that was reviewing the video said that what he saw was 2 people in distress hanging onto the side of a shipwrecked vessel. They had no locomotion available. They could not move anywhere. They were not a threat to America. And a second strike was thrown. He is saying that Admiral Bradley has clarified that there was no kill order. I wonder how much they paid him. It says in the manual not to do that. It's the example that is used in the manual, and the DOJ instruction says, hey, you can't attack a shipwrecked vessel. You can't do it. It's a war crime. And we study that from like basic training. And Admiral Bradley has a very long, illustrious career. There is no possible way that that didn't cross his fucking mind. And in my opinion, they are definitely throwing him under the bus and telling him to be quiet about it. Because I guarantee they wanted to fuck with his discharge. His 20-plus career in the military, his retirement, his pension, his disability. I guarantee that they threatened it. And now they're probably going to force retire him. I don't know if he's going to go to jail. Doubtful. They'll probably force retire or force resign. Pete Hegseth and Trump need to be held accountable. They caused this. They've caused so many innocent deaths so far. And they will cause so many more.
While Pete Kegsbreath is already under investigation for murder and potential war crimes in a conflict where Congress has never officially declared war, he is still directing our military. He is still ordering strikes in the Caribbean. And the only person that I saw report on this today was Aaron Parnas. I could not find a single mainstream media outlet reporting that another boat strike in the Caribbean occurred today. That boat was destroyed. And Kegsbreath has promised more and more strikes. We don't know how many people were on those vessels. We don't know who they were. And he's still committing these crimes because this regime truly believes that they are untouchable. And how could they not believe that? Because they have faced no accountability since they took reign. What they're doing is sick. It is bold and it is criminal. And you know what pisses me off the most is the defeatism. The number of people who I've seen make videos or comment that impeaching him is a waste of time because the GOP won't convict. And if that's the case, let them vote against it. We have eyeballs. We have a duty to force the record to exist. We should be making every single member of Congress go on record and vote. Do they support this shadow war? Do they support unchecked strikes ordered by a man under investigation for murder? Make them own it. If the GOP wants to be the party that votes against accountability for alleged war crimes, then let that be their legacy. That will be another nail in the coffin for them during the midterms. But we have to give them a chance to hang themselves with their own votes. We can't sit by and go, oh, well, it's too hard. That's how they win, and that's how they have gotten away with everything thus far. They rely on our exhaustion, on our cynicism. They bet that we're going to get tired of calling for consequences before they get tired of committing crimes. It's not a waste of time. It's the only way that we start building a record of who stood where. So call your Congress members and demand accountability. Demand that they impeach Pete Kegsbreath. Are we going to just let this slide because it's complicated? Tell me what you think below. Share this and follow me for more.
News just broke that members of the U.S. military committed literal war crimes on the express orders of Pete Hegseth. And the details of what they did and what he ordered them to do are so bad that it is now all but certain that Americans will be prosecuted for these crimes. Earlier today, the Washington Post reported that in September, Pete Hegseth explicitly ordered SEAL Team 6 to every individual aboard a boat off of the coast of Venezuela. Hegseth was very clear at the time about his expectations. He didn't want any survivors left alive. But after the smoke had cleared following the initial missile strike, at least 2 survivors could be seen clinging to the wreckage. And that is when this man, Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley, ordered a second strike to ensure that the survivors were also. But fun fact, that's a war crime. You can't double tap survivors. And all of it was captured on video, a video that the Pentagon is now refusing to show to members of Congress, despite a bipartisan request from the Senate Armed Services Committee for them to do so. And just imagine how bad that video has to be if they won't even show it to other Republicans. And here's the thing, y'all. The Trump administration argues that the United States is now at war with the cartels, and that as a result, the use of lethal force in the form of missile strikes is totally legal, y'all. They have to argue this, of course, because the president would otherwise be ordering extrajudicial attacks on civilians, which is illegal. But by framing these strikes as happening within the context of an armed conflict, Trump might have protected himself legally, but he also ensured that service members are beholden to a set of legal standards that Pete Hegseth is ordering them to disregard. And as a result, those service members can now be prosecuted for war crimes. International laws for armed conflict, which the US military obviously has to follow, dictates that enemy combatants who are seriously injured can't be executed. Essentially, the instant that it becomes clear that the person you're fighting, your opponent, has no way of fighting back, you cannot them. You can capture them, you can prosecute them, but you cannot them. In other words, all of the legal framework that the Trump administration has spent months building around themselves to give Trump the right to order those strikes, yeah, that framework does everything to protect Trump himself, but it does nothing to protect the service members carrying out the strikes. And some of those service members are now going to learn the hard way that I was just following orders don't mean jack shit when you're the one on trial, friend.
I swear to God, he's a fucking idiot. He just can't help himself. We're all following along with the whole double tap situation where the House is now considering articles of impeachment against Pete Hegseth for slaughtering survivors of a military strike. And all they have to do is just shut up, not say anything about it, and maybe it'll just take Pete Hegseth away. But they stuck a microphone in front of Trump, and he can't fucking help himself.
If it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging onto that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, the people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors after the
No, I support the decision to knock out the boats, and whoever's piloting those boats, most of them are gone, but whoever are piloting those boats, they're guilty of trying to kill people in our country.
This is war. You heard it. I heard it. The president does not have the power to declare war. Congress does. The president has the power to attack, but he does not have the power to declare war, especially in international waters. This dumb motherfucker is going to get us all killed.
Well, Pete Hegseth has committed vile war crimes, and our military leadership have now committed vile war crimes, and members of our military, including SEAL Team 6, have now committed vile war crimes. What do we do about it? This is Old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee is as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. Forgive me. I'm going to talk fast through this. I sat in this chair and I warned you they were going to remove our top military leadership and that our country had fundamentally changed. They put Undersecretary Anthony Tata in place for this very purpose. Admiral Mitch Bradley did this. He did this. He is a MAGA general. He's not, pardon me, MAGA admiral. He is a MAGA admiral. I don't call him an American admiral. He's a MAGA admiral. Listen to this. Pete Hegseth ordered no survivors in this attack on these drug boats. Admiral Mitch Bradley made sure that happened. They fired a missile at that first boat and they destroyed it, which was a war crime in and of itself, because this is a policing action of a crime that does not carry the death penalty. But they murdered them anyways. After the smoke cleared, there were 2 survivors floating in the water. Then they failed to give quarter, which is a massive war crime, which has dangerous repercussions for our troops all over the world. We lose our Geneva Convention protections because of things like this. We do. This was horrible. They fired another missile at that boat when they saw there were survivors because Admiral Bradley said, SecDef said, Secretary of War said, no survivors, kill them all. That's what we are now. That is what I was talking about when I told you we are a fundamentally different country now. What do we do about it? And why is this not a death penalty crime? Because folks, look, I want you to Google cartel human broth. I can't even tell you the things that these cartels do to force these people to be mules. And we know this. Our own drug agencies know this. Cartel human broth, BROTH. Google that. I can't put it in this video. It'll get taken down. They forced these people to do this, and we murdered them. We murdered them. Look, this is what we do about it. We have to be very careful. These people are very scared now. They have committed war crimes, and they know it. We have to be very careful. In Tennessee 07, right now, there's an election. Afton Bain, elect her. Why? Because Republicans have broken. They have broken from MAGA. We have got a Republican senator that is now opening an investigation into these war crimes. We have other Republicans that are resigning, other Republicans that are refusing to run again. If you flip Tennessee 07, that was supposed to be a layup for Republicans, those rats they will flood off the ship. Then in the midterms, we take more seats. Do it.
Good morning, friends. Just wanted to hop on here and kind of vent a little bit of my frustration on these boat strikes and people thinking that this is normal and okay, and that it's okay just to kill people on a boat, even if they are drug runners. I mean, you're just, I don't understand how people can be so just cruel and how they're spinning it. You know, yeah, we got to get drugs off the street. We can't keep getting drugs from coming into the country. For one, if they're coming from Venezuela, that is so far. They have to refuel multiple times before they even get here. How are they proving that it's even coming here? If you don't even take those people into custody to find out where they were going, we don't know. And they're not telling us anything, so we don't know. But they're ready to show us the blowing up of the boats, but they can't tell you how they know that they're not even terrorists, that they're drug runners. They're not showing us if supposedly if they have surveillance and they can show us that they're loading up drugs on their boat. They're giving us names. Like, we don't know who these people are. And even if we did, this is not hurting their cartels. The people that are running these are probably normal people that don't have a lot of money, that they're probably paying them a lot of money to do it. And they're just the little people. And they may be fishermen. They might just have families at home. They don't have money. They're poor and desperate, and they're taking a risk. That is no reason to murder them. Give them a chance. Just because you run drugs doesn't mean that you deserve to die. And I just the amount of people that I see online and the amount of people I see that think this is okay and that our administration thinks it's okay, that we could just kill people. Just because they're in a boat and suspected of bringing drugs over here. It just blows my mind, and that they're just lying on top of it, saying it's fentanyl, which doesn't even really come from Venezuela. I just, it's maddening to me, and it's maddening that people still just are okay with this guy and this administration. Like, not, they keep defending him right and left, and then on top of that, he pardons a freaking drug trafficker. What the fuck? Like, literally at this time, what excuse is that? It's all about money and power, and he is not for us little people, like he has said, and so many people believe that he is trying, that he is for us, because he's not. I mean, I knew that, a lot of us know that, but all these people that voted for him, either they are powerful and they just want more power and money, or they're very poor and or even middle class, and they think that he's draining the swamp like he claims, which he's not. He is the swamp. But I just can't get over the killing of these people. Yeah. And everything's so secretive. They sit there and tout how this is the presidency transparency. We're transparent, by the most transparent president ever. What? No, you're not. And if that press secretary, she is obnoxious every time she speaks about how transparent this president is, because he's not at all. And it just, the lies over and over and over, and I feel like, why can't people just look shit up? Can't you look anything up? The sources are out there, everything is out there. And the fact that you believe everything's fake news except for the very, very far right, or just Donald Trump. I mean, I've tried to listen to, Fox News or other news outlets, to make sure I have all the information on all sides, because I don't want to be that person either, where I only hear one side. And I don't want to go, I try to stay very central. And then if I'm not sure about something, I look it up more than one place. In the end, if you look up legislation, that's going to tell you everything you need to know about the people in Congress and in government, because what they're voting for tells you a lot in the end, and what legislation they're putting up and what actually goes through or doesn't go through. That tells you more than really everything you need to know about who is working for who. Either they're working for the people or they're working for the rich people. But it's difficult because they don't make it easy. That website is, once you figure it out, you can, tag stuff and find things, but even to go past to all the legislation in the past, to go research yourself to figure out, which I've had to do, because there are a lot of things I was unaware of and still unaware of, that I have to go back and look, because, I hear things, I'm like, well, let me double check that, because, I may be wrong on that. And, sometimes you are. I don't know. But these boat strikes, I just can't believe that, and the fact that Congress, well, because the Republicans are so up his butt and won't speak out against him, even though now I think some are. So that's finally a good thing. But it's funny how they're only doing it now because there was a second strike when people were hanging off the boat. To me, it should have been immediate, when you're just killing people on a boat randomly, supposedly for bringing drugs over, which we don't really have evidence for. And there's nobody's telling Congress, like, we don't know anything. But when they have people, and I get where they say they're coming from with the law, because they hit the boat and now they were technically no longer a threat because they were hanging off the boat, and that's technically considered a war crime. But to me, all that's a war crime. Killing those people just willy-nilly is a crime. Those people are just playing freaking video games. I feel like they're just they are just happy they have a bunch of power, and they are just playing games, because we know Pete Hegseth he is not qualified for that job, and they fired most of the people were fired that knew how to do those jobs, or they retired. Like the one admiral is retiring that was in that role, because we'll probably find out because he didn't want to do those strikes. People are so cruel. So, I mean, there's just so many, and it's very hard for me to wrap my brain around how people think this is okay. And I struggle with it. I struggle with people supporting this guy. It's really hard. The moral standards of this presidency and the people that support him is what bothers me. With the boat strikes, with immigration, that is what bothers me more than anything. And on top of that, he's not doing anything else to help us. I mean, but more than anything is the human rights. And it's really hard. I've never let politics bother me in general before like this, but this is different. And we're going to find out a lot more. And eventually, this is going to be not good for our history. But it's just sad the people that are getting in the crosshairs. You know, I mean, I'll be okay because I'm white, middle class. I'm not poor, so I'll be okay. But I'm worried about all the other people. Then that bothers me. All right. Good day, all.
Wait until she finds out being white and middle class is not going to save her at all in these final days. But look, y'all, let me share a couple of things with you. Let's see here. Those stories. Yeah, I do. Now, Donald Trump and his administration are full of shit. Now, one thing I want to show you, and I did a story on this back in May. Donald Trump made a deal, and his administration made a deal with El Chapo's son, and they allowed 17 members of El Chapo's family to come into the United States to live here. To live here. Back in May. Okay? So they were allowed to move into the United States after negotiating with El Chapo's son. So, but you want us to believe you are concerned about drug trafficking into the United States, then you would never have let a drug cartel family members move into this country. You would never have allowed it. So Donald Trump ain't concerned about this. Come on, y'all. It is definitely an underlying motive that we're not being told that's going on here. It is not what we're being told on the surface. I'm really convinced of that. Okay? You would never deal with any drug cartel family if that were the case. So Donald Trump don't give a crap about the drugs coming into this country. I don't believe he gives a crap about that at all. It's something that Venezuela has that he wants. It's either minerals or oil. It's something. It's some resource that they have. That's what he's after. It is definitely not the drugs. It's not the drugs. Because if it was really the drugs, you would be going after any country, not just Venezuela. You would be targeting any country that is bringing drugs into the US. You would not be just targeting one country. So that is one thing that I would have to put out there. And another point I want to make about this whole thing is, if you remember when the Admiral, Alvin Hosey, when he stepped away, I understand now. Now it is very clear why this man stepped away. He stepped away so they wouldn't pin the war crimes on him. The target for them to stick war crimes on, and what better person than a black admiral, for you to put crimes on. And he would just sit there and let you do it, but apparently he had more smarts than they anticipated, because he sure didn't let them do it at all. He got the hell up on out of there when he saw what their plans were. And I was reading, Pete Hegseth did not like how he was questioning everything. They said Admiral Alvin Hosey was questioning everything involving these drug strikes that Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump wanted done. He had a lot of questions. And I think he was having a problem with this entire mission they wanted to carry out. And you heard how abruptly he stepped back from this operation. And I think ultimately they wanted him there because they wanted this man to be the fall guy. And I'm glad he did not allow them to do it. I think he saw this coming. I really do. I think he saw it coming a mile away and got the hell out of there. And good for him. I think that was a wise move on his part for not getting involved in this stuff that's going on with them blowing up these boats. I really do. If the US was about something, you would be stopping all countries from bringing drugs in here. You'd be stopping China. You would be stopping Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, all of these, even the Caribbean nations that are bringing drugs in here. You'd be stopping all of them. But the fact that you only are targeting Venezuela, that sends up a red flag for me. Definitely. So, y'all, that's where I stand. And something is definitely not right. And they did this entire thing going around Congress. He didn't even want to go to Congress with this. That says a lot right there. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate your support. And we got our Bible study at 1:45. So I will see you then. Those of you that won't be there, have a wonderful day. Shabbat Shalom, family.